refers to them. Hold on. I thought it ended, but it's still rolling. Okay, let me get to this. He referred to them as Israel. And the southern tribe, because he split the northern and southern tribe because of their sins, sent the northern tribe off. He referred to the northern as Israel at a period of time, and then Judah as the southern tribe, the darker nations, the Jamaicans, Haitians, Negros, Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. Okay? And they caused their sons and their daughters to be passed through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to the devil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them from his sight. Therefore there was none left in the land but the tribe of Judah only. Judah is the king tribe of the southern tribe, Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. Ephraim is the king of the northern tribe, which is the Puerto Ricans. And then you can see it in their mannerism. Puerto Ricans carry themselves because we're all of Negro blood originally. The northern kingdom mix is numbers detailed. The northern kingdom mix, that's why you got lighter skin, Hispanics, Latino people, but the original people of them are melanated, full melanated people. Puerto Ricans, like I say, they carry it in their mannerism that they just like niggas. You can see it. You can't tell them a Puerto Rican from New York, Chicago, even LA, even Florida, that they ain't black. I mean, we got the Sammy Sosas out there going to bleaching their skin and all that stuff, but I mean, he's Dominican. He's of the, I forgot what tribe they are, Manasseh or something like that. But nevertheless, these are God's chosen people. Therefore therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them from his sight. There was none left in the land but the tribe of Judah. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. And the Lord rejected all of the seed of Israel, and inflicted them, and delivered them into the hands of their enemy, their spoilers, until he has cast them out of his sight. Pieces of the puzzle, adding up, describing everything. No excuses to keep following this world. We're an end. Like I say, this ain't to say hate anybody. And for those Edomites, Gentiles that get it, understand there's a kingdom to come. This has been your kingdom. This is where you were the head. In the kingdom to come, the only thing that will benefit you, as the Most High says in his book, ye that bless us shall be blessed. So you're going to be doing the same thing we're doing, living the way we're living without the abuse and the treatment. Esau is the end of the world, for Jacob is the beginning. He's putting his people back into power. He's going to destroy this kingdom. Those of the other nations that are not Israel, the only way you're going to find any salvation is to call on the Most High, acknowledge who his people are. And if you have a problem with that, then you need to continue your world. And this ain't to say that we're not going to be permitted to do anything harmful to you. That God is going to destroy those people who got a wicked heart. So you ain't going nowhere if you ain't purely acknowledging who he is and respecting his people. No way. So if you got a problem with having your entitlement taken from you and that understanding, then you just on the right bus you need to be on. This ain't for you. This ain't for everybody. Even our own people. You have Latinos, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, blacks, everything that's kumbaya, and they don't want to hear this because they want to believe that we all should just get along and we all, defy what the Most High did and what he wrote and how he set up his structure. They want to do it in the false way that they've been given under Jesus, that hasn't worked for us throughout slavery and marching in the 60s and 50s and getting clubbed over the head. You're getting clubbed over the head for a reason, because you're honoring a God that was not given to you. Getting into this real good for y'all. So
God also have a signature that he gives on the forehead or right hand, which indicates who belongs to him. Revelation 7 verses 2 and 3. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. The Greek word that John uses for seal is sphragis. It means signature, or a mark that indicates authenticity. So then, God also has a mark or a signature, which is his seal, and it is given in the forehead of those who belong to him. In the end, people will be divided into two groups, with the main issue being worship or obedience. Those who belong to the beast, who worship and obey the beast or the papacy, are identified by the papacy's mark of authority, and those who belong to God, who worship and obey God, are identified by the seal of God. A mark and a seal are essentially the same thing. It is the sign or signature that signifies who you belong to. A seal in ancient times is the official signature of a king or anybody with authority. It displays the name, title, and territory of the authority. We still use seals to this day. For example, President Trump's seal reads Donald Trump, that's his name, President, that's his title, of the United States of America, that is his territory. Back in the time of Ezra, King Darius' seal would read Darius, that's his name, King, that's his title, of Persia, that's his territory. Back in the time of Jesus, Pilate's seal would read Pilate, that's his name, Governor, that's his title, of Judea, that is his territory.
because he was a prophet, a priest,
of God?
not God.
We are going to notice that God's seal is found somewhere very specific.
Right.
Remember,
the Most High
the
said,
official seal or signature of a king must have his name, his title, and his territory. Where in the Bible can we find God's signature?
the Most High.
Little hint, he writes it with his own finger. Exodus 20, starting from verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Why? For in 6 days the Lord, that's his name, made, that's his title as the Creator, heaven and earth and the sea and all that in them is, that's his territory. And he rested the seventh day, wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. You see, God did not have to make a seventh day, but he did so that in that day we can acknowledge who the Creator is. God made the seventh day for us to acknowledge the Lord our God was the God that created the world in 6 days, and that everything belongs to him. And so by keeping and observing the Sabbath, we acknowledge that we belong to God. This is why God says in Ezekiel 20, verse 12, Moreover also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctified them. And in verse 20, Hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God. By keeping the Sabbath, we are acknowledging the sign that we belong to the Lord our God. And no, it is not just for the Israelites or the Jews, because Jesus himself says that the Sabbath was made for man, not just the Jew. To worship God means to obey all 10 commandments, but the seventh day Sabbath specifically is God's seal. Anybody can obey the 9 commandments. Anybody from any religious group can abstain from murder. They can abstain from stealing. They can abstain from covetousness or using God's name in vain. But when you keep the Sabbath, you are acknowledging who your God truly is. You are acknowledging which God is your God. So, if the seventh day Sabbath is God's seal, what then is the mark of the papacy's authority? Again, I am not here to make enemies or to shame anybody. I am.
And this is why you're giving Sunday worship, to worship another God, the beast, the king of these heathens. And like he said, verification of what I said earlier. If you're not of Israel, you have no choice but to follow the Most High and get in compliance with the Creator of everything. That's like you waking up and finding out you're a rock. You're going to be mad because you were created a rock? This is the same way if you coming into this understanding and you're understanding that you're not Israel. God still created you. You still need to pay him homage. Just because this other God was your ruler in this this kingdom, I don't know what that was. Better go get my piece. But those people with that spirit, they can't let go. They refuse to accept that their entitlements are limited. So let me get off of that. And the pieces of the puzzle are here. Regardless of how you feel, your feelings. Okay, had to take care of that. Was somebody out there doing their thing. Oh, this is just overwhelming. Like I said, if you don't get it, if you refusing to get it, and you of the other nations, that's your spirit. You are of your father. That's what you're supposed to do. But if you ain't got that kind of spirit on you, then it's in your best interest to seek the Most High, because it ain't, you ain't faking the funk to get in anyway. He's only picking out the precious metals of all the gems he created. So going back into this, I didn't know this was going to be this long, but
ambassador is sent among the heathen.
Check this out.
Arise ye, and let.
Now, the book of Obadiah details the end of times, what the Most High is going to do to the heathens, the elites of this world. And want to say that, not caring if it offends people, because if you offended, the shoe must fit. This is pertaining to the elites. And if you give allegiance to the elites of this world, then yeah, you one of their soldiers. You're a foot soldier. So this pertains to you too. But this is what the Most High wrote in Obadiah, what he's going to do to these heathens. If you seen video, news footage of Trump, even probably back as Obama when they were talking about the New World Order, but now, okay, you get in with Trump. Trump was talking about starting this another branch of the military for space. Why are they talking about going to space? It was wrote. Why? This is the foolish nation the Most High was talking about. These fools actually think they can stop the Most High from destroying them and maintain their rule over earth. Watch this. This is Obadiah. Open up your Bible and find Obadiah and read this word for word. Listen to this.
Obadiah. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end, that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway, to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead.
So this is no, I think I want to go into one.
Authority.
So I'm gonna wrap this up with this last video here. I'm just trying to do the work of the Most High for my people that come from the walk that I come from, that got confused by religion. This book has nothing to do with religion at all. It's laws and commandments. It's an honest manual.
And after Noah and his sons and their wives went forth from the ark, there was a man begotten by his grandson Cush, whose name was Nimrod. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, which means confusion. The name Nimrod means rebellion. Nimrod was a rebel against God, and as the leader of the kingdom of Babel, Nimrod was also connected with the building of the Tower of Babel. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. According to the historian Josephus, Nimrod said he would be revenged on God if he should have a mind to drown the world again, for that he would build a tower too high for the waters to reach, and that he would avenge himself on God for destroying their forefathers. The motive for building the Tower of Babel, according to Josephus, was to protect humanity against another flood. Before the flood, God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. When God saw that the children of men were building a tower in rebellion against him, he wanted to put an end to it and said, Go to, let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth. Tradition says that Nimrod's wife was also his mother and granddaughter of Noah. According to various legends, Semiramis became pregnant after engaging in an adulterous affair while married to Nimrod. Around this time, Nimrod dies a violent and untimely death. In an effort to retain power and to hide her misdeeds, Semiramis makes the most audacious claim. She publicly declares that upon Nimrod's death, he had been resurrected as the god of the sun. As the sun god, Nimrod used his sun rays to miraculously inseminate Semiramis with a child. This child was thus considered to be divinely conceived. The child's name was Tammuz, which she claimed was the reincarnation of Nimrod. Thus, Semiramis was both Nimrod's wife and mother. After the scattering that occurs at the Tower of Babel, the story of the miraculous conception of this child disseminated throughout the world and led to the rise of sun worship, along with the various birth, death, and rebirth cults that are littered through history. These mystery religions of future generations adopted different names for Nimrod, Semiramis, and their child Tammuz. This was the birth of paganism.
And that's what your Sunday worship is, giving to you another God when they took Jesus' character and mimic it around what you just seen, the birth of paganism. Your cross is a pagan symbol erected on all top of these churches. People rocking them in their ears and around their neck. The Most High God don't have an idol. He don't have images, no symbols. This idolatry, pagan worship. They've known this for centuries. This is why they had the books for so long. This is why we weren't allowed to read as slaves, because we're more intelligent than them. We could figure this out in a matter of time. But we're given in this world so much to play with in this world of ignorance. To be like them, to try to be like the heathen, we're losing focus. We're so wrapped up in this world doing things for shock value, trying to become YouTube stars and all this other stuff. Following the heathen has distracted us. Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And this is the last one I'm going to share with y'all. Get a little bit more into.
So I'm going to break this down. I almost had to do this in 2 parts. So what I'm about to break it down for everybody out there that I'm watching, displaying my material and revamping everything so people can, from my walk, they might not understand everything. So going into where people come from. Bear with me. Go step back here again. So I was breaking it down, letting you know where people come from. See if I can do this in a speedier fashion. Okay. Noah had 3 sons. Ham, Shem, Japheth. Where you get your Japhetic people from, your Hamitic people, your Shemitic people. Not Semitic. They stole that name, and that's why they don't want to use the proper name, because they know they're going to have to pay for stealing that name. We are Shemites. Africans are Hamites, which 4 families come out of Ham. Japhetic are your Asians. So Noah had 3 sons. Try to get to this real fast. In Genesis, I'm going to show you Genesis 1 and 27. He created another man before he created Adam and Eve. That man was a beast of the field. These are your Gentiles, your first white people. Through Shem came the 12 tribes of Israel. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. This is us as a people today. Jacob had a twin brother, which wasn't like the rest of the family. That's your Edomites, your other white folk. Their blood show forth through their skin. They're the pink white folks you might see on the land. I'm trying to get real descriptive so this can break it down and let you all understand what's going on. Esau is our twin, but yet he is a white man. That's the power of the Most High. He can do that kind of creation. These and these are totally different. These and these are similar. That's why I got two police cars. They're similar. In Obadiah, it says, Edom, I have made you small amongst the heathen. Because he's going to destroy Edom for betraying his brother, Jacob. Oh, they load me now. Hold on. I'm doing this depiction to make it simple for my brothers that come from the same walk that I do, that have a hard time understanding this book. It has nothing to do with religion at all. It's about people and their God. These heathens, which these are heathens and beasts, have a different God than the 12 tribes of Israel, the chosen.
Okay, I'm going to read off the 12 tribes of Israel identified by this world's understanding of nationalities. All the 12 tribes are of the Negro blood, the original people out of the seeds of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, Hispanics, Colombians, all are Negro stock. If you look over in Mexico, they got them big heads of Negro monuments with the pyramids and all that other all that historical stuff is over there. They had mixed. This is why we got Hispanics with lighter skin today. Those are our people. Whether you want to accept that you got Negro blood in you, that's on you. To take that up with the Most High. Cleave to the heathen. I would not want to identify with them right now. That part of me that's mixed. So these are the 12 tribes of Israel. Staying focused. Ephraim, the Puerto Ricans. Manasseh, the Cubans. Asher, the Brazilians and Venezuelans. Levi, the Haitians. Naphtali, the Hawaiians and Samoans. Issachar, the Mexicans. Judah, the Negros. Zebulun, the Colombians and Romanians. No, that ain't right. Zebulun, the Colombians. Gad, the native Indians. Reuben, the Seminole Indians. Simeon, the Dominican Republic. Benjamin, the Jamaicans. Hope I said that clear enough for y'all. Those are the 12 tribes of Israel, nationality-wise. And if you go to these brothers called GOCC, they video, GOCC, 12 Tribes of Israel Lost and Found. They break down the scriptures, the book of Numbers, identifying all those nationalities where God said he would scatter them to, and the lands that they would be in, and the curses that they would be up under. And it identifies particularly Issachar. They would be identified by the donkey, the ass, because of their labor. They're hard workers. And if you see paintings or murals in Mexico, they always got that donkey with that Mexican flag on it with a sombrero. Ironic, call it what you want. It's in the book. Getting into that book, I'm going to wrap this up. Had this Arab guy come on a post or something and then say something to me about, he was saying something about Allah, and he says to me, he says, "Are you a Christian?" I said, "No, I'm a Hebrew, I'm an Israelite." He says, something about praising Allah and everything. I said, "Yeah." I said, He said, yeah, our forefather Abraham. Now, he kept saying that in his text posting and everything. I said, yeah, uh, you're of Ishmael. You're Isaac's older brother. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are the blessed bloodline. Isaac had a brother who was Ishmael, the forefather of the Arabs. So you're praising Abraham, and then he says something like, yeah, we both praise the God of Abraham. I said, yeah, but it's not Allah. Muslims follow the Quran, which is the Old Testament. That's all the Quran is. But they did the same thing that Christianity did with Jesus. They took a character and made him into God out of the Bible, the original Testament. They give you the New Testament, they give you a new God, which is Jesus. The Quran uses the Old Testament and gives you Muhammad, or whoever they got over there, as Allah. When I'm breaking this all down from that brother, do you know he deleted his whole conversation? Our people are waking. They know who we are. It's time to wake up, Israel. Glad y'all was able to sit. This is the longest one I've done in a while, but I had to get it out there. We're in these times. Come away from these heathens to the best of your ability. Come back to the laws and commandments that the Most High gave to his people. With that, it's a wrap. Y'all stay blessed. Shalom.